Audacy Beach Festival.
Hi everyone, I'm Nicole Alvarez, and I have the pleasure of being here with my boys, Bastille. We are at the Audacy Beach Festival. Welcome.
Thank you.
Let me start off by saying welcome to America, because for a long time, you were not allowed back in this country.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing that you did wrong, but we had a situation.
You did.
So what was it like you were stuck at home, which is great, but what was it like not being able to cross over?
Do you mean the Atlantic or to the other side of life?
To the other side, I guess both.
Yeah. Okay, right. It was, I guess we have been fortunate enough to do this for a few years now, and I guess you take it for granted. We would see people like yourself in LA not infrequently, and the world felt quite small, and then all of a sudden it felt very, very closed off. So I guess it makes you appreciate what you had when it gets taken away.
Correct. Let me ask you something, Dan.
Okay.
If you were told that you could never come back to America, what would you guys miss about us the most?
Oh, there's so much. There's so much. I think that this sounds well cheesy, but the food, also it's just really beautiful country. There's obviously it's absolutely vast, but there's so much incredible variety and beauty to it. Some of the most staggeringly amazing views you'll ever see are in this place. So I guess having been lucky enough to travel it a fair amount through touring, you've just been able to see some of the most amazing sights ever. So that would be sad. But the internet exists. So
I think buffalo sauce. We don't have buffalo sauce in the UK.
Buffalo sauce?
It literally doesn't exist in the UK.
I'll make sure that you guys get some
crazy.
to take back
So
with you.
lifetime supply.
Yeah, I'll get you a lifetime supply. So now that you've been able to play shows again, it must have been an incredible experience to get back in front of an audience. What was something that came over you the first time you got to step back on stage? Kyle, why don't you answer this one?
So the first gig that we did, we did some festivals back in the UK. One called Latitude Festival, which was incredible. But I think this trip in particular, just because we're in the States, let's talk about that. So we were able to go over to New York for a quick show, and then we've been here for the last sort of 4 days, just kind of dotting about Florida, and it's been amazing. I think that it was just clear that to us and the crowd that we had been wanting to do this for the last 2 years, and they'd been kind of just waiting to just come to a gig. That's just it was so normal, and then it was really not. And I think it's such a surprise how everyone's reacted now that music's sort of back on the menu. It's everyone's just craving it. It was crazy.
Did any of you get emotional the first time you stepped back on stage?
Not emotional, but there's a bit in the back of my mind. I've been playing drums for over 20 years now, but there's a bit of me was if you don't use it, do you lose it? 5% in the back of my head. Literally to go out on stage, that first one is well, here we go.
It's so, I think with a lot of stuff with lockdowns in the last 2 years, though, it's so surreal because you step back out, you have that moment of being surreal, and you're we're back at this, and then it's almost like those 2 years never happened, and muscle memory kind of kicks back in. Yeah. It's such a weird thing. It's this huge chunk of time, and all of this, collected sort of surrealness and trauma it's been such a weird couple of years, but then going back to something that you've done kind of every day for 7-8 years, whatever we did before, it's a very kind of, I'm obviously doing a very bad job at describing it, but it's such a weird thing. You're oh wow, there's crowds, people like our music, this is weird, because for us, we've as we've had quite a busy last couple of years in terms of making things and being active and putting music out and creating and releasing stuff, but we haven't had any of the real life, tangible kind of in-person feedback of what that is. So to get back on stage and play for actual people and hear them singing songs and tunes that we put out in the midst of a pandemic, seeing people recognize them, get excited, sing along, that's been kind of amazing.
Before we get to the new stuff, and this is just something really curious, have you ever called out the wrong city?
I
thought I heard it happen last night. That's why I'm curious to see if you've ever done it.
From the beginning of us being in a band, wrap it up. Yeah. From the beginning of us being in a band, I've always been really paranoid about sorry. That wasn't me saying that. No. About sort of living the cliches that exist, and so because I'm so self-loathing, I make sure that I obviously know where we are, but also because when you go on stage, you don't know where your mind's going to go. Exactly. I get really nervous, so I always write everything down and have it just in case. So I don't think, but we were at a gig once. We were playing a festival, and I think Justin Bieber was playing after us. So we were like, well, we're never going to see Justin Bieber again. So we watched it, and he came out, and we were in Essex, which is quite far away from London. And he'd clearly just got helicoptered in and was like, "Hello, London." Everyone, this like thousands of people in the field were like, "What?" That was kind of perfect. That was like, yeah.
So Give Me the Future is coming out. What's the date that it comes out?
4th of
February
February.
4th.
I don't even want to talk about it that much. I want people to experience it because I think we know you've been so generous with the material that you've given us, and I think that you'll play some today, and you've been playing some, so I'm excited. Are you nervous at all about releasing the new record at all?
I'm always nervous about a new record. Like, I don't think complacency ever kicks in. It's
Well, that's a good
terrifying
thing. That means
every
you care.
time.
It is scary. I think we're really excited about this album. Like, it feels kind of, it's very us, but it's also kind of different. It's a step on. It's a concept album. It's about the future. We're really interested in what it's about and the themes of the songs, and the sonics of it have been really fun to put together. So I think there's like, we're obviously shitting ourselves, but there's also like, there's a level of, we've sort of sat with it for a minute. We've rehearsed it loads. We're just excited for people to have it and to play it. And we're kind of like, we're all really happy with it. So there's an element of being like, whatever happens with the album, like, we've had a good time making it, and we're really confident in the music. So we'll see.
So good to see your faces. It's kind of ridiculous. I hate that we have to wrap it up, but we do. So I know that we'll get time together again. I look forward to just hanging out and watching you play. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having
Bastille.
us.
That was it. This is the Audacy Beach Festival.